And UNICEF reports a third of the world's children are undernourished or overweight. It says millions of children in Indonesia, Malaysia and the Philippines are facing that fate. And for an expert's perspective, we speak now with Ms. Zafrin Chowdury, Chief of Communications for UNICEF Philippines. Thanks for speaking with us. So firstly, how does UNICEF measure child malnutrition? What are the measures, the criteria, predictors?
Very simply explained, it is we measure height for age, weight for age, also the proportion between height and weight, and then there is a mid-upper arm circumference measure that we apply for children, which is a very good predictor for malnutrition and measure for it. These are all WHO approved global standard measures for malnutrition. So they also allow us to compare between regions across and between regions and countries of the world.
All right, Ms. Zafrin, speaking of that comparison, the report says that children in Asia are not fed a healthy diet. What are some of the reasons for this?
The report, the State of the World's Children report, reveals what it is calling the triple burden of malnutrition. So on one hand, there is major undernutrition causing stunting and wasting, and then there is hidden hunger, which is children suffering from very low nutrient food intake and accompanying symptoms, and there is also the increasing problem of overweight, and these are caused by various reasons. Of course, poverty is one of the major drivers. There are food habits, social norms. Those are really some of the drivers of the situation.
Well, UNICEF reports show malnourishment for children under 5 in the Philippines, Indonesia and Malaysia are higher than the global average. Why these particular countries?
Actually, these countries, I can talk about Philippines. There are, major wasting and I will go back to some quotes from the region of children. A 13-year-old girl from China said that cheap food are not healthy and healthy food are not cheap. That's precisely what it is. The unhealthy food is much easier to find. In the Philippines and in many countries across the region and the world, the rate of breastfeeding is very, very low. And then, there are other reasons like rapid urbanization. Somehow the communities are moving more and more from their traditional food habits to fast food and cheap food. And that is what is causing this, problem of malnutrition.
Well, speaking of cheap food, you mentioned there modern food like, for instance, instant noodles. How prevalent is this in Asia, and particularly so in Southeast Asia?
Actually, noodles is one of the food, but it's not the only. These food are cheap, they are affordable, they are very highly accessible. Noodles, biscuits, processed foods, sugary drinks that are high in sodium and sugar and low in essential nutrients. So these are the affordable food that that are really cheap and easy, and as opposed to very difficult to access healthy food, also more expensive.
So
those are the reasons why this situation is being caused in these countries. There are 8 food groups, and a child to grow up healthily need at least 4 to 5 minimum, 4 to 5 of representation of those food groups in each of their meals. But we see that very few of children can access a balanced diet that represent all food groups. And the noodles, biscuits, these are low in fiber, high in sodium and sugar, low in nutrients. They can fill you up very easily and leave no room for nutritional food. And not to, already, as I have pointed out, the most families living in poverty cannot afford nutritious food. Vegetable, fruits, meat, fish, they cost much more than the easy and cheap fast food.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, Ms. Zafrin Chowdury, Chief of Communication for UNICEF Philippines.